Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes for people to join. I'm sure everyone's had meetings beforehand, so grab a tea, coffee, drink of your choice, and we'll get going in 4 or 5 minutes. Good morning, everyone. People are just joining now, so we'll give it a couple more minutes before we press on with the presentation and demonstration. Thank you all for joining, wherever you are. Looking forward to telling you more about our PIM solution, Perfion, for those who haven't seen it or have, or may have seen bits and bobs, but want to learn a little bit more. We'll just leave it a couple more minutes and then we'll get going. A few more just filtering in now on the hour, which I'd imagine are people coming from other meetings. So just give it a minute or so more, if that, and then we'll get going. Lots more starting to join now. The beauty of remote working, really, you can go from one Teams meeting or Zoom meeting to another in seconds without having to walk from one room to the other, but we'll get going in a couple of seconds. Okay, let's go for it. So, as I said before, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Today, we're going to be walking through a high-level overview of what PIM is, why it's such a useful solution, and some of the brilliant benefits you can expect once enabled with it. Firstly, my name is Adam Sutton, previously Director of Perfion in the UK and Ireland, now Senior Channel Manager for Boyum IT. Doing our demonstration today will be my colleague Hans Henrik, who knows more about Perfion than anyone I've ever met. But we've left more than enough time at the end for you to test Hans Henrik's knowledge with some questions and answers. But any burning desires you have now, feel free to put them in the chat box below. and I'll be monitoring them throughout. So there may be some of you who have worked with a PIM previously. There may be some who have a general idea of what it does, and maybe there are some who haven't even heard of Perfion at all. Essentially, a PIM solution manages and enriches all product data and supporting content, seamlessly pulling and pushing them to and from your ERP, web shop, printed digital content, suppliers, and much, much more. Everything from images to videos, dimensions, descriptions, translations, data sheets, catalogs, technical specifications, the list goes on. Information that isn't complete and up to date becomes confusing and useless. And Perfion puts your mind at ease to know that your customers are getting the right product, the right price, and the right experience every single time. Information that isn't complete and up to date does become useless. And how many times have you visited a website, viewed a technical specification from 2012, 2018? This information has probably changed since. And how can you be sure you're getting the right product? What about purchasing something online and when it arrives, it's either the wrong size or color or doesn't even turn up whatsoever? You're probably not going to be buying from that company again. Good product data is so important to growth and scalability. Buyers nowadays online expect a good experience, because once you lose them, you probably aren't coming back. When we first started working with ERP partners, I spoke to a few of them about the reasons why they implemented Perfion as part of their tech stack. And the most common response was they needed to have a system at their disposal that was purpose-built for their customer-specific needs. More than ever, organizations are having to focus on their product data management, and that's why we've built integrations into the likes of SAP Business One for when innovation, enrichment, and multi-channel delivery is paramount. We aren't here to step on the toes of your ERP or e-commerce solution. We're here to complement them by allowing each of the products to do exactly what they're built for and bringing in Perfion when required. Whether that's workflows, which I won't steal Hans-Henrik's thunder on, real-time surfacing of information, automated creation of print and digital content, the likes of ChatGPT functionality, as well as our exclusive add-in and release 2 integrations, and much, much more. But how, you may ask, and well, you're about to see it in all its glory. But before I do hand you over to Hans-Henrik, just a diagram explaining what your customer's current situation may look like. Lots of different databases and spreadsheets, files and places storing that product information with inconsistent front-facing data on the likes of marketplaces and channels, e-commerce websites, brochures and catalogs. And actually, what you can maybe imagine it to look like with Perfion: simple, effective, working in a way that you want it to work for you, and consistent, but most of all, giving your customers a return on investment pretty much from day one. We've got some amazing case studies over the years that have seen this, whether it's saving time on resource, whether it's saving time on effort, whether it's saving money from a less returns point of view or bigger basket point of view, or just bettering your processes internally. That's what the customers obviously benefit from, but what's in it for you, essentially, which is why we're all here. Further access to Boyum's industry-leading e-learning and enablement capabilities, support from dedicated channel managers such as myself in all territories, making the most of another lucrative solution from a discount and professional services point of view, as well as lead generation, growth into new markets, just to name a few. If you're interested in learning more about partnering with Perfion and becoming enabled with our PIM solution, then feel free to reach out to myself, and I'll either point you in the right direction of your dedicated channel manager, or if you are based in the UK and Ireland, you can to me. But enough of me. Again, any questions you've got, feel free to put them in the chat and we can get to them either at the end, or if it is, as I say, a burning desire, then we'll stop Hans-Henrik in his tracks and get an answer there and then. But over to you, Hans-Henrik,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think you have to unshare your screen. There we go. Then I'll see if I can share my screen here. There we go. All right.
Good.
Thank you very much, Adam. Don't know if I know everything, but I'll take it as a challenge. So yeah, I will show you Perfion here, and I'll show it live. So what you see on your screen now is Perfion. That's the web client where your customers could maintain their product information. And what we see here in the main view are the different products. Here on the left side, I have my categories, various category structures. I also have some tasks lists and some search capabilities in here. And then I have a lot of stuff up here in the menu where I can do various stuff. If I want to search for products, it's very easy. I'll just go up here to my global search. I could search for red, and it will find me all the products that have something red in the name or in the picture, in the color, or anywhere else on all the product data. There are also other ways to find products. For instance, here I have a task column. It's basically, could call it dynamic categories or dynamic predefined searches. So I can quickly find products where the Spanish item name is missing, products without a user guide, or whatever other tasks I regularly go to, and I need to find the products that I need to do something with. I'll go back to my categories here, to my coffee machines here. And in the grid, something that's very important for customers maintaining a lot of product information is that it's very easy and efficient to maintain all this product information. And we made it possible to edit the products directly here in the grid. So I can go in and I can select these 3 products, type in a new weight, like this, hit enter, and they all get the same weight. Some fields have values from value lists instead of just typing in. So here I can choose from a list of my colors, and this ensures that the data is consistent, and it also gives me some data modeling capabilities to store additional information. So in this example here, I have color, and you notice there was a little color dot. That's something I added here in this demo, so that Coastal Blue have this color swatch, and I could have Pantone number or whatever other attributes I want to store about the color. I could store on the color when it's a list. So it's very easy to maintain data, copy paste work throughout the system. If I want to copy this image to this item here, I'll just do Control C here and Control V here, and it will copy the image. And if I do something that is maybe not a good idea, like changing the product image like this, then I have access to all previous values here. So we can see all the different other values that this has had, and I can restore back. I can see who made the change and when it was changed, and I can restore the value back. The same goes for items that are deleted, whether it's a color that is deleted or it's a whole product, I can also restore that. But of course, there are extensive permission models built in so that the customers can control which users can create new items, edit items, delete items, and what they can see and edit on the individual items in here. So I can edit all data in the grid, but if I prefer, and some customers do that, especially if they have very complex products with a lot of attributes, then I can also edit the products in an item card. So I can right click on the product and open the item, and that will open up the item card where I have all the attributes that in this demo I have configured to my product. So the item card is divided up into sections here, again, fully customizable with the master data, data coming from the ERP system, technical specifications, marketing information in multiple languages, relations, etc. In here, I have some options to quickly filter, find the fields I want to see. So if I want to see the color attributes, I'll just search for color. I can find it that way. I can also, if I'm only interested in fields with translations, I can filter out and then see all the fields that are translatable. And I can even go further and only see those that are missing values. And you can also see it here, it's highlighted that the Spanish translation is missing. So the item card is a different alternative to maintain my data. In this list, I have 3 espresso makers. They don't come in different variants. It's just 3 individual different products. But a lot of times, customers have products that comes in variants. So here in this category, coffee makers, I have some French press coffee makers. It's the Chambord model, and it comes in these 6 variants with different volume and different material. That's one way of generating variants, and I have an even more elaborated example here under pots and pans, where I have a pot that comes in 3 different colors, and each color comes in different sizes. And the purpose of doing this, first of all, this structure here is completely dynamic. Your customer can have 1 level, they can have 2 levels, they can have 5 levels, and they don't have to have the same number of levels for different products. Because if you sell t-shirts, then maybe color size is a good way to handle the variance. But if you sell other products that just comes in 1 level of variance, you can also do that. The idea here in Perfion is that information I put on the higher level is inherited to all the children. So we see I added the brand here on the high level, and that's inherited all the way down. I also added the weight here, and that's inherited all the way down. Some data is only inherited on the color level, so I put the picture on the color level and the color, obviously, and that's then inherited to all the variants underneath. And on the lowest level, I have my SKUs, and that's where I have the individual name and the EIN code and everything else. So when the web shop or whatever is using this data sheet or whatever is looking at this product, it has all the information. And when I put the value on the higher level, I ensure that everything below will have that value. So it gives me consistency, it gives me better data quality, and it makes it very easy and efficient to edit many products. Here I only have a few variants, but if you are making screws or nails or other products that come in hundreds of variants, it makes it very easy to maintain the high level information. I'll go back to my coffee machines here. And another thing that is very important when you are working with product data, especially more complex product data, is our ability to model the data in advanced ways. I talked a little about it with the colors. We have another example here with the brand. So the brand is just a drop down, but I have modeled brand to include all the information about the brand, including the logo and the name. So if I change the brand on this coffee maker here, it changes the brand, but it also changes the logo and any other related information. And this makes it possible for if Bodum change their logo, I just have to go into the brand and change the logo one place, and then wherever this is used, it will be effective. I have the possibility to, just as I could open the product, I can also open the entity brand. So I just right click on it and say open selectable item. And here I can see all the information about the brand. And this can be used when you have, an example is we have a lot of wine distributors that are selling wine, and they have a region where the wine is from on the wine. But as part of the region data, they have the pictures of the hills from that region and the marketing text and all that. And they just maintain that on the region. And then when they apply the region to the wine, it's from this and this region, they have all this information. So a lot of possibilities to model data. I usually say that we can model any data in Perfion. Could be for complex products with bill of materials, relations between different products. It could be spare parts, or how various options fit together, and instructions on how those options have to be installed. All that information can be maintained and modeled in Perfion here. Throughout the system, we have drag and drop. So you can drag and drop products all over the place. If I want to say this is not a coffee machine, it's a coffee maker, I can just take it and move it in here. And it's now in here. And I can also move it back again. So throughout the system, you can drag and drop. I'll come back to that and show that in different examples on that. And in case you're wondering, I'm also gonna show the integration to SAP Business One. So it's coming. All right. When you are working with product data, data quality is very important. It's one of the key reasons why you want to use a PIM system, is to increase the data quality of your data. It's very important. For some customers, it's more important than others. We have customers within the pharma industry where data quality is so important, because if they give a data sheet of a pump and it has to deliver exactly this amount, it's really important that it actually does deliver that amount. So data quality, the way to check that data is clear and clean, is key for a PIM system. When we have in Perfion, we have various validations in here. So for instance, here on the EN number, if I enter a EN code that is not valid, I can validate it like this. I can also check unique values and so on, and I can put up rules on various fields to see if there's something inconsistent or something wrong with the value. I also have my dashboard, which can give me an overview of the products I have in the system. The dashboard focuses on the products that are in the system. So each widget, each box you see here is configured, and the dashboard can of course be personalized to individual groups of users that needs to see different kinds of information. As I said, the dashboard is focused on the products we have in Perfion. We also have a lot of customers that integrate Perfion with Power BI if they want to use the product information in their overall reporting with, for instance, Business One. Anyway, in this example, I have some widgets that show some information about the products in Perfion, divided by category, or divided by workload for the product managers, how many products they have to maintain. And down here, I have some examples of some data quality dashboards that give some information. Here we have some images where the usage rights have expired, so we can identify those. Here I have an example about some products where the dimensions are incomplete. So when I click on the dashboard, it is interactive. I see the product where the dimension is incomplete. I can see it's missing a height, and I can enter the height of the product. And when I do that, you can also see an example of a formula field. And a formula field is basically taking other values from the product and put them together to ensure consistent output. That could be used for item naming. It could be used for dimensions in this case. So I'm sure that it's length, width, and height, and not height, width, length, or it's mixing, or somebody puts units in between and so on, that I get a consistent output. It can ensure, it makes it possible to use values from the product into one field, which is a good idea. It's a good idea to take the product data and split it out into atoms of different fields you can maintain, because that makes it possible to use the data in a lot of channels Whereas if you have all product data in one big text block, it's difficult to really use the data, compare products with other products, etc. So when I go back to my dashboard, we can see that everything is complete. I don't have any validation errors, and everything is good. The next thing I'll do is I will start a data onboarding process. And we're also using the dashboard to control the workflow, the product lifecycle of the product. So with the dashboard, we support both parallel processes. The workflow we set up here is that products have to have master data approved, specifications approved. Specifications, that's the height and the power consumption and the different technical specifications and products. And it also have to have marketing approved. These three processes can be done in parallel. So basically different people could work on those things in parallel. When marketing is approved, I can ask for the translations. And when all this is approved, I can then start populate my products to my web shop, to my printed catalog, and other syndications. It could be marketplaces or other channels where I want to use the data here. And in this example, in this demonstration, I'll show a workflow that goes where the product starts its life in the ERP system and then at some point goes into Perfion. We also support another life cycle where the product starts in Perfion or maybe even starts in our supplier portal. So where the supplier can upload product information to our supplier portal, the customer can then, your customer can then approve those products and say, I want that and that and that from the supplier portal, and that gets created into Perfion. They enrich the product, they validate the product, and at some point it moves into B1, utilizing the release to B1 module we have in there. This is a good process for customers that are developing products. It could be apparel, it could be jewelry, and so on, where they have a development process where they have some product information where they are not sure whether it's going to be products or not. That way, they only get products in the ERP system that are actually going to be products that they are going to work on, and keep the rest in Perfion. The other process where the product starts in ERP, which I'm going to show you today, is also a very common process, and that's for those customers that want everything to start in the ERP system. So so what I'll do is I will start running a synchronization from B1 to Perfion. Actually, before I do that, I'll just jump into Business One. And so here we see we have a Sage Oracle Touch product. It's in here. And we have various tabs. And here in the end, there's a tab called Perfion. And when I click on that, we see that the product does not exist in Perfion. So this product is currently not in Perfion. So if I go back to my Perfion and I run an action called sync products from B1 to Perfion, it will start getting products from B1 into Perfion. Now, an action is this is actually something that's important for you as a partner, because an action is our low-code ETL language where you can get data from external systems into Perfion, build some custom logic that will get that information and remap it, do some logic on it, and so on. You can also use actions to get data from Perfion out into various areas, whether it is uploading images to an FTP server, calling an API, or doing something completely different. And lastly, you can also use it to take data from Perfion, do something with the data, and put it back into Perfion. Could be used for workflow purposes or anything else. Now I ran the action here manually, execute, But of course, this would typically run on a scheduled basis. Could run every hour, every 10 minutes, or whatever to get new products from SAP. It can also be triggered from the outside, and it can of course also be triggered from inside Perfion. When I do something in Perfion, mark a product complete or so, it can trigger an action.
Just a quick question, Hans Henrik, from Tim.
Yeah.
Can you select specific products to be excluded from that synchronization process?
Yes. So when you do this, you typically set up a rule set on what products you want. It could be that they should have certain criterias, some approvals or some conditions from SAP to get the products. So you don't just necessarily get all products, but you define what products you want and what criteria should be in SAP to the products you want to get. So
And
it's
that can
not
be
all products.
That can be done on any time frame you want, really, can't it? Every day or every minute or however long you want it to obviously synchronize.
But the idea is that it is something that runs automatically. So it's not like you get a list of all the products in SAP and then pick the products. That's not the idea. It's the idea that the partner, whoever is implementing Perfion, is setting up a rule set of, I want to get all the products that have the checkbox here and have this in this category or whatever the criteria would be.
And is that criteria in SAP or in Perfion?
In SAP, because the product is not in Perfion yet, so there's nothing to see in Perfion. But to be honest, it could be made as complex as you want it, depending on the criteria. Usually, it's just a few conditions of some of the values in SAP. Oh, I closed the window now. But some of the values in SAP say these are the products we want to get into Perfion.
Perfect.
All right, so the sync is done. You might, maybe you saw up here that it was spinning, and I can see that it's done. If it runs automatically, the user don't see it. But if I refresh my dashboard now, we can now see that I have 5 products where the master data is not approved, the specifications are not approved, the marketing is not approved. I still don't have any translations pending because marketing is not approved. So there's nothing for the translator to do at this point. So if I go back to, or if I click on the master data not approved, I can see here the 5 new products. I can see the completion of the master data, how complete it is, and I can start editing my data. So what I'll do is I'll just right click in this column and say freeze column, because that allows me to see this information even though I go beyond this. So now I'm just using my arrow keys to go through here and I check the information. I can see here there's an EN code missing, so I'm going to enter that. So I'll just enter something that doesn't exist already. I can also see here that the height is missing, and you can, by the way, see that the master data increase whenever I enter. So these coffee cups, how high are they? I'll say 9 centimeters. We'll put that in, and we can see these are now 100%. And for the 2 coffee machines here, we can see that they're missing a brand. So I'm just gonna select the brand, and I happen to know that this is Sage. So actually, I'm just gonna show that. Instead of selecting, I'm just gonna start typing SAG, and it jumps to the Sage, and I can select that one in here. So the master data is now, we can see it's 100%. The master data is complete. I can, by the way, also here see that these products exist in SAP, and obviously they do because I just got them from SAP. But this is also relevant if you go the other way, that then here you can see that the products, which products exist in SAP and which don't exist in SAP. But I'll go ahead and approve the master data. And when I go back to my dashboard, we can now see that there are no, I'm done with the master data. If I go back to SAP and find the product again, I think it was SES 980. Here we go. Then now when I go to the Perfion, we can now see the information here. And you choose what information from Perfion I see in SAP on this product. The idea is that it could be customer service or anyone else that needs to see some of the data that is not in SAP, but is in Perfion being maintained. They can access it here. And they can also open up the product directly from in here. So they can open up the item card and access the manual or the technical details or all the other information about the product in here.
Just, I was going to cover this at the end, Hans Henrik, but Dimitro's asked, is the in-stock tab part of the data exchange between Perfion and SAP or the marketplace?
It could be any information. I'm assuming that's it's a B1 data. Any data from B1 can come to Perfion if needed. In general, we have a rule of thumb. We say that transactional information is owned by the ERP system. That's information like prices, inventory, that kind of stuff. And any of the fluffy marketing data, technical specification, power consumption, etc., that's in the PIM system. But if we need to produce a price list from Perfion, then of course we need to see the price, even if it is a customer specific price, and so on. So you can show B1 data in Perfion. We don't necessarily need to copy the data, replicate the data.
I think it again comes back to the fact that we wouldn't want to step on the toes of the ERP, and once you're in Perfion, you of course want to see that information from SAP, but you don't want to edit it and you don't want to adapt it because that is held in that solution, but you can surface it and have access to it. And then if you need to edit it, go back into its native solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. The next point are my technical specifications of the 5 new products. And as you can see here, it's not just a number, it's actually divided up into category. And that's because the attributes that I want to see for coffee cups, here I have got diameter and volume, are completely different than the attributes I want to see for my espresso machines. So in Perfion, it's quite normal to create thousands of attributes, but then use, for instance, the product category to differentiate what attributes are relevant for what products. So in here, I go to my coffee cups, I'll put in a diameter, 19, and a volume, 0.375, and approve the specification like this. And I go to my coffee machines, and they're fine. They're just missing a cable length, so I'll put in 1.2 there, and approve the specifications there. And back at my dashboard, everything is now filled in. It's now complete. And I can carry on with the marketing data. Now, marketing data can be a lot of things. In this example, we say that images and related products are also part of the marketing data. Perfion have a built-in digital asset management system for digital assets, which is images, files, whether it's CAD/CAM drawings or it's videos or it's Word documents or zip files or whatever. So we can store all that in Perfion. Again, to consolidate all product information one place. And with images, the idea is that the customer upload their high resolution, huge image, sometimes very, very big, because they have to use this to generate catalogs. But when the data is going to the website or another channel, they might want to convert it to something smaller, scale it. They can even crop it. They can change the aspect ratio. They can put in point of interest on the images and so on. There's a lot of things you can do with the digital assets, including the full data model and workflow for assets. So assets could have a different workflow than the products, and any additional attributes that the customer want to store about the attributes, for instance, who's a photographer, search engine optimization, or any other information that needs to be stored about the image. In here, I have some descriptions and some headers, and I can see that for this Sage Barista Pro espresso maker, there's missing a description. So I could start writing a description now, but instead I will call an action. an action that we made that calls ChatGPT to generate a marketing description. So what this action does is it takes the product information that we have for this coffee maker, put it in a prompt, say write a 100-word marketing description about this coffee maker with these attributes. Calls the ChatGPT OpenAI API and gets the response back. So when I refresh now, we now have a marketing description written by ChatGPT. Now, as a demo thing, this is a great history. You know, oh, ChatGPT, it can do the things here. But I think for you as a partner, it's more interesting to know that it took our consultant, and therefore it could also take you, 1.5 hours to make this action that does this. So imagine the possibilities you can do with actions and Perfion to call external systems. It could be ChatGPT, Google something, or any of the other services to use the product data and enrich it or validate it for the customer. It could be creating search engine optimization. It could be do a sanity check on the product data, see if it makes sense, if there's something that sticks out. It could be automatic classification of products or anything else that you want to use any external services to. Actions have the possibility to call an API or call any external services and utilize that. And that would of course be you that are making these actions in our low code system, where you can also do C# snippets and other very advanced stuff. So that's the real story about this, not that we have integration to ChatGPT, which is of course also nice. In here, I also have a field with related products, and that's actually just to give an example of that I can make relations to other products in here. So this could be used for spare parts, for bundles or whatever. So for these coffee cups, I'm just gonna pick some coffee machines. And for the coffee machines here, I'm just gonna pick some coffee cups. Oh, I might as well pick some of the new ones. And with the full with the relations and the data modeling capabilities, it means that I can easily, when I'm on this product, access the product information on this. Perfion knows that these are now tied together. And I could, for instance, say, give me all products where the related products or the spare parts or whatever it would be are expired. I don't think I said it, but I hope it's clear that all the fields you see here, everything you see here, is attributes that I have configured to this demonstration. So another customer's data model would of course look completely different. If you want 10 image fields, you can just create 10 image fields. If you want different relations, you just create them. Here under lifestyle images, I'm just gonna pick some lifestyle images from my image database. So here you can see I have some categories for images. I'll go in and I'll look at the different images, and I'll just choose these 2 images as my lifestyle images, and they are now added to the product. So marketing is approved here, and when I go back to my dashboard, everything is 0. I'm done. I can take an early weekend. The only thing is that we need to do the translations. So we can see now everything is done here, and translations are now 5, because now there's something for our Spanish translator to translate. We can also see now that the products are ready for webshop, print, and syndication. That's how we define this workflow, that when everything up here is approved, then we can start to populate the products. But I'll just put in the translations first. So I click on the 5 here, and I could log in as a Spanish translator. And what you would see there is that as a Spanish translator, I'm able to maintain the Spanish words and the Spanish translations, but I'm not allowed to edit any of the other data here. Now I'll just stay in as admin so I can do anything. In here, I'll pick the Spanish language. So now all the fields that we see here that comes in different translations, I see both the English and the Spanish value. Perfion supports all languages. We have many customers that are producing catalogs in Chinese, in Japanese, in Arabic, and any other language. So we support all languages in here. So I have these values, and to be honest, my Spanish is very, very limited. So instead, I'm going to use Perfion's translation functionality. We have integration to both DeepL and Google Translate. And especially DeepL is actually very, very good. It's at least very much better than my Spanish. So I'll just go ahead and select the translation here, and also the description. And so now I have a description written by ChatGPT and a translation made by DeepL. And if we are not using any of the automated translation possibilities, we also have integration, standard integration into translation agencies, where the customer can take the product information, send to a translation agency, have it translated, and it comes back into Perfion. This has a huge value for some customers because it means that they can expand to new markets very easily. If they have the product information in English and German, but they want to go to, I don't know, the Swedish market, they can just add the languages and have all the information necessarily translated, more or less automatic, and that way be ready to expand to other markets. So there's some easy return on investment there to have the ability, if you have some customers that want to expand on different markets. But I'm happy with the Spanish translation. I'll mark it done, and my dashboard is now 00 all the way through here.
Just slightly conscious of time, Hans Henrik, just a quick question from Helena has asked if a product is discontinued, everywhere it's featured as a related product is obviously updated as well?
It could be. Depends on how you want to do it. Typically, yes, it would be. But keep in mind here that Perfion is a database, and I just created a relation between one product and another product. So there's no, so that's just a relation between two items. So I would set up, if this was a case, I would then set up a trigger that when I discontinue a product, or a product is discontinued in B1, it would trigger that it should remove those products where it's related, or mark them, or do something with them, whatever the workflow is. The thing is, each customer have their own way of working and their own workflow. It's different from customer to customer with the PIM system, and the way it should work is not the same for everybody. So that is that is something that where we need the partners, you, to implement and go through the processes, how they do this, what should happen when a product is discontinued, and so on. Should it be removed? Should it be marked? Should it flag should it show here on the dashboard that we have 10 product relations that are with products that are discontinued, and then someone can make a decision. Everything is possible in that regard.
Great. Just again, conscious we're coming up to 11:15 now, and I know obviously we're just booked in for 45 minutes, but feel free to stay on and we can answer a couple more questions. But again, the recording will be sent out following the webinar as well, in case you need to nip off.
All right. So for the web shop, these products are not on our website yet. So what I can do is I can go to the publish work mode here, where I have the different channels where I want to use my data. So I created these 4 channels, and I'll select my website. And here I have my website with a different category structure. and I can take the products and drag them in. So these are cups and jugs, and they are also, this one I want to put in the new category as well. And we can see that while I'm doing that, it's coming in here. Instead, I can also use our rules. So we define some rules that says, well, products that have in this category and so on, they should go in this category structure here. So instead of sitting and dragging everything, I'm just going to select auto categorize. And when I refresh, they are all added into my categories. So we can see that the products are in here, put in the right categories in here. So when I want to publish the products, I go to publish. And when I go to my mockup website and I refresh, the products are now shown on my website. So this could be my web shop or whatever it is. This is just a mockup of a web shop. All right. Back to dashboards. Print. Print is not dead. They said 15 years ago when I started for Perfion that print is dead, but it's not dead at all. There are a lot of customers still producing print, if nothing else than for catalogs. And for print, we have a built-in report generator where the customer can make a template for a data sheet or price list or catalog. And because we are lack of time and we also should have some time for questions, I'll quickly go through it here. It's the same method as before. I choose my channel, in this case, the catalog. And here I have my catalog structure, front page, index, and so on, and the different products. And I will just pick these two and drag them into my coffee maker. And they are now here. In here, I can change the order and so on. And in here, or from SAP Business One, or from my website with the URL, I can generate print. I don't have to have static PDF files on the website. But for this example here, I'll go up here on my main catalog and I'll right click and do publish to generate my new catalog. I'll select the language, I give it a name, 2024, and start the generation. And while that's standing up there, I'll also start generation of a price list. So with price list, we configured it so that it's a customer specific price list. So I'll do cost price list, and again I'll choose English, and then here we have a link to the customers in my ERP system, and I'll pick the customer so that Perfion can go to the ERP system and get that customer's prices, or however that is configured, because that is completely configurable when you make the connection between Perfion and the ERP system. And I'll click generate on that one as well. So now they're both running. While that is running, I could just jump into here, go to my product here on my website. And we can see here, I got all the information, no surprise there. I have a link here, and you can see in the lower left corner, this URL. So I haven't saved any PDF files or anything for this product. But when I click the link, the data sheet is actually generated dynamically with the data I have in Perfion. So here we have a data sheet for this new product that I just added, generated with the data I added. And if I go back to dashboards, let's see, yeah, our information is also ready now. So I have my catalog and my price list. And if I open up my catalog, we can see here I have a catalog with the front page and so on, and coming different layouts with the products in the order I selected. And if I, where's my downloads here, my customer price list. Here I have a customer price list for this customer with barcodes generated, all the information, the price in the ERP system, and the customer specific price looked up. And we just did the training for the report generator here for non-IT users. We did it last week in Miami, and it's a 2-day training for anyone to learn how to create these templates. It's what you see is what you get. report template generator in here.
Customers and users aren't confined to the Perfion, as good as it may look, the Perfion design of these bits of content, are they though, Hans-Henrik? It's something we have an integration into InDesign with, so we have a lot of very visual customers, as you can expect, who want to produce really good looking catalogs and data sheets and price lists. And what we do is integrate with the likes of InDesign, let designers do their thing and make it look nice, but you're safe in the knowledge that that information that's being pulled into each of these bits of content is, of course, up to date, correct, and personalized if required.
Yeah. But this actually concludes my demonstration. I apologize going a little over time. I'll just stop sharing my screen. There we go.
Great, thanks, Hans-Henrik. We've got a couple of questions. I'll go from top to bottom, as there's been a few that were asked early on, which we didn't get to. But Ed and now Fraser have asked, how is Perfion connecting to SAP Business One? Is this through service layer?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know that. There was something I don't know.
We'll find out. Fraser and Ed, you've both found a hole in Hans-Henrik's knowledge, which is a rare sight. But yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. Carol is asking, are there different types of licenses? Are they subscriptions or buy licenses? Probably one for me more. So yeah, we have a subscription model, a SaaS model. There's numbers of different packages in which customers can purchase. If they're a small company and they have maybe less users and less languages and less integrations, then of course they can start with a smaller package and all the way up to an enterprise solution as well. We've got customers with 600, 700, 800 users, which is really interesting.
We got one with 1,200 users.
Yeah, crazy. And each of those users, which is going back to a question before from Dimitro, I think it was, asking about role-based access. So you can have people who can see all of Perfion and be a super user almost. And then you can have people who can only view certain parts of it or edit certain parts of it and make sure they're staying within the boundaries, you could say. Just trying to have a look at some other questions now. So Carol's asked a question about bill of materials, Hans-Henrik. How are those handled in Perfion, especially with through the validation workflows? And what do our integrations look like with PLMs?
That's a good question. Well, the bill of material can be imported, integrated from a PLM system. It can also come from B1. A lot of times, bill of materials, many customers have different types of bill of materials. They have the one they use for production, and they might have the bill of material that they use to customer-facing material. So it's not necessarily the same. So yeah, I hate to say anything is possible, but we can get the information from a PLM system or from an external system. You can maintain it in Perfion as well, with the tables and the different attributes that you want to store for the different lines in the bill of material.
Because we've got a number of customers who have products that are one SKU or one product at their final stage, but of course going into each of those products are parts or bits and bobs or variants, etc.
Yeah, and also in different levels, so yeah, that product actually contains of different levels that are containing and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. But the bill of material is of course very much focused on the information that you don't have in the ERP system. So it could be pictures, it could be instructions, or something else that you need to use outside of Perfion. So that's typically what it's contained of.
Yeah, and just sticking with Carol before we move on to the next couple of questions, you can create the item in one database and go through the validation system and then send it into other databases, can't you?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Whether it's from Perfion out or from someone into Perfion and onwards. Yeah.
Brilliant. Ben has asked, can you share the info with the customer when sending out an offer or order? I'm trying to work out if that's related to exactly a part of the demonstration or just in general. We've got loads of different content that you can send to customers. As mentioned in the pre-demonstration presentation. We can help with all pre-sales demonstrations, information. If there is conversations that you're having with specific requirements and stuff, then as I said, a dedicated channel manager is there to assist you with this. And yeah, information to customers is widely available. And then, of course, depending on their specific requirements, that's when the likes of your costings, implementation details come in as well.
And we'll also be happy to help identifying customers. So if you have some customers say, could they be relevant for Perfion? Could they be relevant for Perfion? We'll be happy to help with that as well.
100%. Savas has asked, is there a version in Greek language? My Greek isn't brilliant. I'm not sure about yours, Hans-Henrik, but as mentioned before, we've got lots of partners in all territories, really. So our partners can utilize Perfion and get trained up on Perfion and demonstrate in that native language. What we also have is information available, videos and demos that you can translate yourselves, essentially. So I think YouTube.
And I think also the user interface, you know, the words you see up here and so on, they come in 5, 6, 7 different languages, not Greek. But if it is, you know, a substantial customer, if it's something that is important for one reason or another, then I heard a rumor that it is quite easy to add another language. It's something about a big Excel file that is sent around and then translated for the user interface. In Perfion itself, for the product data, supports all languages, including Greek.
I think, as you say, there's something about supply and demand almost. So if you want and have a number of opportunities in your given territory, which isn't currently supported from a user interface point of view, then, and as you say, Hans-Henrik, that's of course something that we would focus on and make sure is possible. But from, say, a pre-sales or from a presentation point of view, then you can adapt it however you want, really. And again, we've got some really cool content that can be translated. And we've got some videos, high-level demonstration videos that you can send out, which can have subtitles on the bottom, etc. So the stopgaps agreed, but if it's something that becomes a real priority, then yeah, of course, something that we would be more than happy to make sure is available. Okay, so we're a couple of minutes away. I'm just trying to double check if I've missed any messages. Osama has asked, hi, can we have on Perfion, on the Perfion tab on SAP, more than one picture? So say if it's a product image or a lifestyle image.
Yes, you define what attributes in Perfion you want to show on that tab. The only thing, actually, the only thing to be aware of is that that tab is then visible to anyone in SAP, because correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but I don't think it requires a Perfion license to see that tab. No. So anyone in SAP can see that. So if you put in the cost price, and not everyone should be able to see that, then they can. So everything you put in this tab is visible to anyone in SAP.
Yeah, and again, that's another real benefit and conversation we have with partners and customers, is that they want some of their users to stay in the ERP where they are well versed and want to be in the ERP solution. And then we have some people, maybe more marketing, or people who are in product teams, e-commerce teams, who are very much based in Perfion, making sure those systems obviously align, but you don't necessarily need to have double licenses for both solutions, really. Carol's asked, do you have a doc that we can share with our customers? Of course. I'll follow up with you, Carol, following the webinar, and any specifics you need in terms of content information, I'll send over to you. And if it's not me, then it may be another channel manager in another region. But we're just rolling up to 11 o'clock my time, UK time, 12 o'clock in Europe and beyond. So thank you, everyone, for, again, taking the time. Hopefully you got some really good information around Perfion and its capabilities from a PIM point of view. And of course, with integrations into your ERP solution. Hopefully we can hear from you soon. But as I said, feel free to reach out to myself and I'll point you in the right direction of your channel manager. And yeah, hopefully we can start to bring the solution to your customers moving forward.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks all. Have a lovely day.